My name is Robin McCulloch. I'm the mining engineer for the Montana Bureau of Mines and Geology as a public service and science organization with Montana Tech. To get to this odd place, I started out as a student, got a fisheries degree, couldn't find a job, went for a geology degree, couldn't find a job, went for a mining degree, got a job. That should sum up just pretty much what's out there. Using the biological science and the mining and the geology simultaneously has helped me to work through a lot of these areas. I have worked continuously since 1974 on the wilderness issue and have yet to see anything that resembles sanity. No matter, you come up with possibilities, you research the areas, they still want more, they still want to do something else with it, they won't ever settle the issue. So let's get some statistics of what's going on. And this was the first half of my career, 18 years or so. Montana has roughly 94 million acres. The current wilderness has 3.3 million acres, or 3.5%. The mineralized portion that's out there that you could make a mine out of is 4.6 million acres, or 4.9%, just about as much of all the wilderness we've already got. Of that, 1.6 million acres, or 1.7%, is available without much in the way of restrictions for development. 1.4 million is restricted, meaning that it's difficult to be able to work on it, but it can be done. And 1.6 million acres is restricted or legally unavailable. So of only 4.9%, 2/3 of that is available, 1/3's already gone, now we're dickering. Yet the old rules on a divorce, that's where you split everything down the middle and argue about one side or the other side on what you're trying to get. Well, that's really what we're up to. If we look at southwestern Montana, which is this portion right through here, you're really talking about 68 to 72% of the total mineral potential in the state of Montana. There's some other pieces in the northwest up in here, but that is the heart of it, right in that block. In most of this statistics I've given you came out, our original study done in 1989. Since then, with the roadless review, we've put even more of it in that restricted area and less of it in that available area. Now, if we look at the reference of what does minerals bring you, total historic production, best guess I can come up with is $156 billion since the 1860s. Of that, Butte accounts for 100 billion of it. The rest of it's kind of scattered around the state in different deposits that are developed or partially developed, not very deep, most likely only the first 1,000 feet. So we still have not explored all of our mineral wealth. If we look at what is significant as far as the Beaverhead Deer Lodge, of the 10 most mineralized counties in the state, Silver Bow, Beaverhead, Madison, Jefferson, Deer Lodge, Granite. Gee, does that sound like the Beaverhead Deer Lodge Forest? The northern half and the west or eastern boundary is Marr, Broadwater, Powell, Lewis, and Clark. That's that total block that we're looking at right there. And this is only the locatable minerals. And that means that it's only the gray stuff. Mineral and county and Fergus County, mineral being this block up in here, Fergus County over in here, that's kind of covered with some of the other stuff. Those are the only two. We have other counties with mineralization, but Gallatin has one major deposit, meaning Stillwater. The rest of the county is largely unmineralized. So what really becomes important when you talk about, you want to hit that, when you talk about minerals is where. So as we see this block and some of the tertiary valleys down here in southwestern Montana, that's where all your coal is. Next. If we look at geothermal potential, big push on that now. Heat your houses. We're talking about generating electricity out of geothermal. You get this block in here and on deep areas out here in eastern Montana and the Madison, but the wells are going to be multi-million dollars because they're 2,000, 2,500 feet deep. Next. We talk about the metallic and industrial minerals. Lo and behold, there's southwestern Montana. Here's the northern province, some world-class deposits in those, but that's the gut of the whole thing. Next. When we look at how that fits at 1 to 100,000 quads, and I'm just going to give you some examples. Hit the next one. When we look at Butte North, with Butte being right here, that's at $100 billion worth of production. Northern portion, Wicks, Corbin, look at all the existing mines and give you a little hint. We talk about the disaster of minings and Superfund. Nice concept. When we had the last depression, the government came out in 1932, 33, 35 with the Reconstruction Finance Corporation and funded mining to get out of the depression and get things going. That's the largest portion of these, all paid for by the government to get them started. By 1941, the War Production Board came back and closed 80% of those mines that they had paid for to get started because those mines were non-essential industry. They didn't have enough minerals of one kind. These guys were forced into bankruptcy, couldn't get steel, fuel, labor, explosives. They were done. Now we've come back with those mines and declared them horrible things that the industry did. The government created, the government destroyed. Now the government's reclaiming it and they're blaming the mining industry for what they did. Same situation all the way across the board. They only represent the top 100, 200 feet. They were at the worst possible technology, and now we're going to bury them all like they didn't exist. Next. We go a little farther south. Camp Creek, all that block in there, large zinc deposits. Everything down in here out of Glen, world-class tungsten moly deposits. Most of the East Pioneers are moly deposits. Canavan Gulch, there's 3 of them at 300 million tons, 0.1% moly. Those are the only ones that have been drilled. We've got lots of resources. We just haven't had the money to drill them out. These are the types of deposits that support thousands of people in a county. As Ken Weber said, the opportunity to have a mine in your county is not a disaster. It's that stable feature that goes on for years and years and supports the county and the local economy. Twin Bridges, this whole block over in here, these are the placers, these lighter blocks where you can go dig gold as a citizen. These are huge amounts of mineralization through here. Hit the next one. Dillon, world-class talc deposits, sapphire, corundum, all right within the reach of Dillon. Back to more porphyry systems over throughout this block, clean up into there into the tungsten. This gives you a little bit of the flavor of the 13 1 to 100,000 quads that are represented in the amount of mineralization in this country. From my point of view, it's not an issue of wilderness, it's where. It's not that function of it existing. That's for when we put everybody else's use into it. For minerals, it's where those boundaries are. I've asked 3 times and have not been given a boundary of the proposed wilderness areas. I've been promised it 3 times and haven't seen it yet. We get little cartoons that say the wilderness areas are about here, but nothing that's big enough that you can lay down and say it's right here and it'll be in conflict with this mineral deposit or that mineral deposit. There's areas out here, look at that has no minerals.